On to Europe now, where farmers are back on the streets across the European continent. From Paris to Poland, Belgium to Greece, the anger is over the EU-Mercosur trade deal, and it is spilling onto the streets. The agreement was in the making for the last 25 years. Farmers fear that cheap imports will undercut their livelihoods. This, remember, as Brussels moves closer to signing the deal. These visuals are from Paris. In the ongoing protests that lasted throughout the night, farmers gathered at multiple landmarks across the French capital, including the Arc de Triomphe and the National Assembly building. Fuming French farmers camped out despite the government's promises. They waved flags, chanted slogans, and heckled National Assembly Speaker Yael Braun-Pivet. The protesters say the Mercosur deal will flood Europe with cheaper agricultural imports, putting local farmers at risk.
You saw that the tractors have started heading back to their farms because overnight there were discussions with Agriculture Minister Annie Genevard about the cash flow problems our farms are facing. Those talks provided guarantees on the restructuring loans needed after several bad years, which many farmers had been expecting but which were not announced yesterday by French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu. That's why this very late-night exchange allowed the whole delegation to secure the guarantees we needed.
In Greece, meanwhile, Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis held talks with farmer representatives. The government offered tax cuts, lower energy costs and compensation to defuse the tensions. But many farmers rejected these talks, calling the Mercosur deal a threat to their survival.
After 45 days, this burden cannot continue. The government exhausted the economy's capacity, supporting farmers more than ever. It also exhausted the limits of its understanding for a sector that it has stood by for years. We will not tolerate blackmail, illegalities or absurdities, and of course we will not create an injustice for the rest of society.
Now, what is the European Union Mercosur deal? The EU-Mercosur deal has been 25 years in the making. It involves Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay and Uruguay. And it would be the EU's largest trade agreement in terms of tariff cuts. Germany, Spain and the Nordic countries say that it will boost exports and reduce reliance on China. However, the farmers fear an influx of cheap meat and grains. For farmers across Europe, the clock is ticking. The protests are showing no signs of slowing down. In Belgium, farmers blocked highways near Brussels. In Poland, hundreds rallied in Warsaw, urging lawmakers to seize the deal. In Ireland, on the other hand, farmers took to the streets after EU member states cleared the way for signing. Despite the backlash, EU member states have approved this agreement at a diplomatic level. EU chief Ursula von der Leyen is expected to sign the deal on the 17th of this month.